Welcome to the Edmonds Cop. I'm Teresa Whipple here with Sergeant Shane Hawley, and we are going to talk about a fascinating topic, sweetheart scams. You need to tell me more.
Yeah. So you've probably heard the saying, love is blind.
Yes.
And I can verify that that is a true statement because somehow this face ended up getting married. So my wife can attest that love is truly blind. All right. So this is basically your classic dating scam is what it comes down to. And these scams are all about emotional manipulation. Someone's out on a dating website, they're looking for love, they're looking for a relationship, and people are out preying on them. It's really sick when you think about it. You're taking advantage of someone in an emotional state. You know, oftentimes it's someone whose spouse may have passed away, you know, a lot of those sorts of situations. So what ends up happening is they go on a dating website and someone communicates with them and it gets involved really quickly. They start saying, hey, you know, I'm in love with you, all of this, and it seems like everything is lining up, the stars have aligned, everything is right with the world, and then comes the request for money. So that's where things start to go off the rails. And unfortunately, people are very emotionally invested at that point in time, and they just miss warning signs that you and I might normally see in any sort of relationship.
Right.
Yeah. And they don't want to see them.
Right.
Is really what it comes down to. The thing about it is, unlike your usual phone scams, where we have victims that will go out and buy gift cards and send them to places, or maybe a few $1,000s, these scams can get big. People end up paying a lot of money. The FBI actually reports that the average sweetheart scam is $15,000 to $20,000 for a victim.
Oh, my word.
That's the average. And I bring this up because I know we have had two reported to us in Edmonds. One recently was $275,000. And when I was in detectives, I investigated one personally, and that one was over $300,000.
Oh, my gosh. Do we know how people target these folks? Is it through social media? Obviously they must do some investigating to know that people have the means, or is that how it works?
Well, so it's like a lot of scams, they fish to begin with.
Right.
So if you're on one of these dating websites, even legitimate dating websites, you put your profile out there and people start contacting you. And you know, they may contact a bunch of different people and see if they can basically get any bites.
Right.
Once they start that, this communication begins, and it's like they just start diving in further and further into that relationship. They'll say all sorts of things. I have some warning signs that we'll give you at the end to know what this looks like. Interestingly enough, the FBI has a lot of statistics about that $15,000 to $20,000 is the average. There's also a target demographic where most victims end up being, and that is women between the ages of 50 and 59.
Oh.
That's the highest percentage of people that are targeted in this type of scam.
I would have, for some reason, thought older, but I probably just have something in my head. That's interesting.
Yeah, so that's the average age. The warning signs, if you think you may be the victim of this, or like you may be going that route, or really and truly, a lot of times it may be someone you know. Like it might be your parent, or another loved one, friend, family member, something along those lines, and they're talking about this new relationship and they met someone online. These are signs that you should probably look for.
Okay.
So the first one is they say that they're out of the country. So there's no possibility that you can meet with this person because they're not even in the United States. And the reality is most of the time these scammers are actually out of the country. Okay? So these are difficult cases for us to work in law enforcement, and the FBI has a difficult time working it because your suspect is in some other country. Okay? They ask for money quickly, usually after a couple of conversations. So that's not normal. If you're going to start dating someone or get in a relationship, you don't build a relationship on, I need your money.
Yes.
Okay? So if it seems too perfect, like you start talking and lo and behold, you have everything in common together. So that's another warning sign. they tell you they have a financial hardship. And the only way that you can be together is if I get this money, and then I can be released from this. Like, I'm out of the country, I have financial obligations, I can't leave until I pay this, they won't release my passport, or some other sort of financial thing. And that's the only way we can possibly be together.
Yeah.
And that's really where, when they get to that point, they've really sunk their nails into it, and they have the victim, and that's where the cash starts really coming in.
Okay.
Okay. If the person has what I would call a glamour shot photograph, if you've ever done a Google search for, just search for, attractive male 40 years old,
Yeah.
and it'll pull up all of these professional photographs.
Right.
Right. So if the picture looks like it's done professionally and this person is way too perfect, like, yeah, okay, probably not real, right?
Okay.
And then the other thing is, if they're corresponding and there might be real bad grammar, punctuation, syntax, they may say they're from the United States, but they may type like English as a second language, because it probably is, because they're out of the country. So those are all some warning signs to look for. And that case I talked to you about when I was in detectives, that victim was actually brought in by her daughter. So, and she didn't want to believe that this was fake.
Right.
So if you know someone that possibly in that, you may have to kind of intervene and say, hey, maybe you should look at this, reach out to us, talk to us, give us some details. So I had to do a real good job trying to convince her that this isn't real.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine that would be hard because, like you said, the love is blind sometimes.
Yes, absolutely. And the other downside to it is, most of the time, it's already too late for us to get the money back.
Yeah.
It's been gone for months. It's been moved from bank account, shuffled all through other countries, banks in other countries. It's just, it's too late.
Okay. So even more reason to be careful and to keep an eye on your friends and family members who might be in that situation, and they may not see it, but you do.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We'll be back soon with another episode of Ask the Edmonds Cop.